Now we're going to look at graphs and slope, which we've looked at briefly in the past, so we're going to revisit it, so we have to again review some key terminology and vocabulary. So the slope of any line written in the form y equals mx plus b is m. So the slope is the m. The y-intercept of any line written in the form y equals mx plus b is the b. Lines with positive slope slant up from left to right. Lines with negative slope slant down, left to right. The change in y as we move from one point to another is called the rise. And the change in x as we move from one point to another is called the run. And the grade of the road is a measure of how steep it is. So now, if we have equations and we're asked to find the slope and the y-intercept, is in slope-intercept form, meaning if it's in y equals mx plus b form, then that means the number in front of the x will be your slope, or your m, and the number by itself is your y-intercept, which we also call the b. So number 8 happens to be in slope-intercept form. It's y equals an x term and then a number. So my slope is negative 3/5, and my y-intercept is 2. Now you could say 2, make sure you watch the directions in my math lab. You might put 2, but if it says put an ordered pair, then remember it's 0, 2, because it's always on the y-axis. So just make sure you're answering it the right way. They may ask just for a single number, which you would just put 2, but if it says write as an ordered pair, make sure you put 0, 2. Now the second one, not written in slope-intercept form because it's not y equals, first of all, but remember we can manipulate any equation to look any way that we want. So I'm going to manipulate it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to treat it as a formula, and I want to get the y by itself. So I'm going to move my x term. And remember, when you want to move an entire term, you're either going to add it or subtract it, depending on the sign. That's going to leave me negative 5y equals, I'm going to put my x term first, and then my constant, because that's what slope-intercept form is. It's always your x term and then your constant. And now I need to get y by itself, so I only need to move the negative 5. Since it's a multiplication, I'm going to divide by negative 5. And that's going to leave me, because the negative 5's cancel, y equals negative 4 over negative 5 is a positive 4/5 x, and 9 over negative 5 we could say is a negative 9/5. So now I can identify my pieces here. My slope is 4/5, and my y-intercept is negative 9/5. So if it's not in slope-intercept form, you could always rewrite it so that it is in slope-intercept form. Again, remember, if they're asking for the y-intercept and they want it in an ordered pair, make sure you put 0, negative 9/5. You can also find slope from a graph of a line. Remember that it's rise over run. So my rise would be, what is the vertical change from one point to the other? Now you can start at either point, it doesn't matter. If I start from this point and I go up vertically, it looks like I am rising 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like my rise is 4. Then my run appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units to the left. And since I'm going to the left, it's going to be negative. So my slope would be negative 4/9. Now, I started with a 0.5, negative 1. What if you started with the point negative 4, 3. You're still going to get the same answer, because if you start with this point and you go down, let me try that again. I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, and since I'm going down, that would be a negative 4. And then my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units to the right. So the first time I did it, I got 4 over negative 9. The second time I did, I got negative 4 over 9. Those are equivalent. Those are the same thing. So that's why you can count either way. Just make sure if you go up or to the right, that's positive, and if you go down or to the left, that's negative. So do you have to graph in order to find the slope? And the answer to that is no. We do have a slope formula, and it's on your formula sheet. And the slope formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. The formula looks a little complicated, but really all you're doing is your rise is subtracting your y values, and your run is subtracting your x values. So we can apply that to any problem here. So let's look at number 19 down here at the very bottom. And we're going to apply our formula. So if I subtract my y-coordinates are 15 and negative 8, but I have to subtract them. So that's really important. Make sure you subtract. Since I'm going 15 minus negative 8, I have to go 10 minus negative 25. If I would have done negative 8 minus 15, then I would have done negative 25 minus 10. You just have to be consistent. So this is going to give me a slope of 15 minus negative 8 would be positive. It'd be plus 8, so it's going to be 23. And 10 minus negative 25, that'd be 10 plus 25, is going to be 35. So my slope for number 19 is 23 over 35, just by using my formula.